Okay, so imagine this. A Hollywood legend, an absolute icon who's as famous for her stunning beauty as she is for her, let's say, very complicated love life, has spent decades completely out of the spotlight. And then, all of a sudden, she decides she's ready to tell her story. The whole thing, not to some huge TV network, but to a journalist nobody has ever heard of. This is the incredible story of Evelyn Hugo, and today we are going to unpack the life, the lies, and the absolutely devastating truth she finally brought to light. Let's get into it. Right off the bat, this is the central mystery that kicks everything off. I mean, think about it. Evelyn Hugo, a woman who controlled her own narrative with an iron fist for 50 years, suddenly decides she's ready for a tell-all biography. But she has one demand, and it's non-negotiable. It has to be written by this completely unknown magazine journalist. This single question just hangs over every single word of her confession. Why her? And so, this brings us right into Evelyn's world. We step into her gorgeous, luxurious apartment, where this final, shocking story is about to unfold, and where two very different worlds are about to collide in a way that, well, neither of them could have ever predicted. I mean, just look at the sheer imbalance of power and fame here. On one side, you've got Evelyn Hugo, a global icon. Every single move she made has been documented for 60 years. And then on the other side, Monique Grant, a writer whose career is kind of going nowhere. Her personal life is a mess, and she has zero connection to this superstar. It makes absolutely no sense. And you know what? That's precisely the point. And just in case the setup wasn't intriguing enough for you, Evelyn adds one more little condition. The story, it can't be published until after she dies. So this isn't just an interview, it's a posthumous bombshell. For Monique, this is the career opportunity of a lifetime, but it's all wrapped up in this huge mystery with the highest possible stakes. All right, now let's get into the story everyone thinks they know. The one that made Evelyn Hugo a household name, her 7 husbands.
7. Just let that number sink in. It's a number that defined her entire public image. It was tabloid gold. It painted this picture of a woman who was fickle, insatiable, and impossibly glamorous. It was a brand, really, a legend built on a simple, scandalous number. But as Evelyn starts her story, we learn pretty quick that the truth is, well, it's a lot more complex and a whole lot more calculated.
And here's the crucial thing to understand. For Evelyn, marriage was almost never about love. See, back in the cutthroat world of old Hollywood, the studio system basically owned you, your image, your roles, even your personal life. So marriage, it was a business transaction. It was a tool for survival. A well-timed marriage could land you a better movie role, create a publicity storm to keep you in the headlines, or, and this is the most important one, it could provide the perfect smokescreen to hide who you really were. And that brings us to the real reason for all the secrecy, all the lies, and all those husbands. We're about to pivot away from the public facade and uncover the one truth that Evelyn fought her entire life to protect. And with that one sentence, Evelyn just completely dismantles her entire public persona. The foundation of her fame, those 7 marriages that captivated the world for decades, it was all just a distraction. This is the moment the real story, the one that cost her absolutely everything, begins to bleed through the cracks of that carefully constructed legend. This right here, this is the heart of the entire story. Evelyn's great love wasn't a man at all. It was Celia St. James, her biggest professional rival and the only person who ever truly saw her. Now you have to remember, this was an era where a relationship like theirs would have destroyed both of their careers in an instant. So they were forced into a lifetime of secrets, stolen moments, and just profound heartbreak, all while they were playing their parts for the cameras. The 7 husbands, they were the shield that protected the most vulnerable, most authentic part of her life. But wait, the story doesn't end there. We now understand the great love of Evelyn's life, but we still don't have an answer to that first big question. Why does she choose Monique Grant to tell her story? Well, that answer lies in one final, devastating secret that connects their pasts in a way that is just truly shocking. And just like that, the story becomes deeply personal for Monique. The ground completely shifts beneath her feet. This whole time, she thought she was just an objective journalist chosen by chance. But the truth is, she was chosen for a very specific reason. One that's rooted in her own family history, a history she knows absolutely nothing about. The secret revolves around a single tragic moment in Evelyn's past, a car accident. It was a collision of 2 cars. a night of shattering glass and shattered lives. In one of those cars was one of her most beloved husbands, and in the other car was Monique's father. And here it is, the final, heartbreaking piece of the puzzle. To protect the man she loved from scandal that night, Evelyn Hugo made a choice. She arrived at the scene and she staged it. A final, brilliant performance that reframed the entire tragedy. Her choice saved her husband's reputation, but it completely destroyed an innocent man in the process, Monique's father. She chose Monique to finally confess the truth, to give her the one thing she was robbed of all those years ago, an answer. So, after a lifetime of that much ambition, that much secrecy, and that much sacrifice, what are we really left with? Evelyn's story becomes this profound look at the incredible and often brutal cost of creating a legacy. When you really boil it all down, Evelyn's confession reveals some powerful, unavoidable truths. It shows us that a life isn't black and white. It's all just layers of gray, and a lot of them are painful. It proves that who we are in public is so often a carefully crafted performance just for survival, and it really powerfully demonstrates that a life of great ambition and great love will always demand unimaginable sacrifice. But maybe most importantly, it shows that the story of a life is never really set in stone until the final narrator puts pen to paper. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. Evelyn Hugo spent her entire life controlling her narrative, only to hand it over to someone else at the very end. It kind of makes you wonder about your own story, your own secrets, and ultimately, who you would trust to tell it all.